We are here to bring you everything and anything surrounding Porsche. I'm Mike.
I'm Aaron.
And this is P-Car Talk. Welcome to another episode of P-Car Talk. I'm Mike.
And I'm Aaron.
Let's thank our people.
Let's do it. We got Leslie, Chris, Steve, Ken, Richard, Sean, and Nick.
Thank you guys so much. I didn't hear any new names on there, so clearly you guys didn't listen to the last podcast. We kind of need you guys to pump that up. I'll hold my breath. I'll probably die before that happens, but in all seriousness.
They might have been a screenshot from last time, but I think we're still the same.
Yeah.
So.
I'm giving you guys a hard time. We do appreciate the ones that are supporting us, and if you're thinking about supporting us, stop thinking and take action.
Start doing things.
Start doing and stop thinking. All right. So, let's get right into it.
Sure.
You and I discussed this many times on many topics that we've discussed before on the show. Some of this stuff comes to fruition. Some of it doesn't. A lot of it does work out. Porsche has actually made the announcement that they are going to be trimming their lineup. They were quoted in an article, in a European article, saying they were going to do so on the chopping block. To no surprise, and I think no one will miss, the Taycan is going to be going eventually, so that's going to be out of the trimmed market.
Makes sense, because I would say they're just going to go full EV Panamera.
Yeah, maybe. They didn't say what the action was. They said that's what they were trimming. And also to preface, no dates were given for any of this as well. It was just saying this is what we're looking at trimming.
They're just like throwing it out there. What do you guys think about not having this?
Yeah.
And then the gauge reaction.
So Taycan's one.
Nice.
I'm not shocked by that one at all. Cayenne Coupe, that a little surprising. I mean, I figured they kind of sell quite a few of those, but
yeah, but again, it's its own little like mini line within the line.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it has to have a whole nother shell.
Yeah.
To do its thing. Yeah. So, drivetrain, all that stuff's the same, but another body mold. So that one a little surprising because I would say that they sold. I wouldn't say quite a few of those, but those were better sellers than probably Taycans. So next on it, big one, 718 Boxster and 718 Cayman.
So officially,
you called it.
Officially.
Well, they didn't give a date. They're just saying they're probably not coming back. You brought that up about them probably not bringing those back. Again, they were quoted on saying this, so this isn't hypothetical. But as we know, anything can change like the weather. They can say all of this and still do whatever they want. We all know that. But it goes in line with them losing money and then trying to streamline things. So some of this will probably stick. Will all of it stick? I don't know. And then the final one, which makes total sense, and we've been griping about this for the longest time.
911.
They're going to trim some of the lines out of it. They're going to take some of the. They didn't say which models are coming out, but they were going to say they're not going to have every variant of 911 that they used to have. I immediately started thinking like Targa. Targa's probably gone. Like for
think about low sales. Yeah,
that's a low sale car. Probably cost them quite a bit to actually make it because it's very different than the other 911s.
Controversial. What do you think about GTS?
I think GTS will stay. Yeah. I still think the S will stay. I think the base will stay.
Do you think they get rid of
they already got rid of the turbo model, so it's Turbo S only. There is no turbo, so that's gone.
Well, that's what I was kind of thinking about with the Carrera S. Is just have a Carrera S and not have a base in the.
It could go that way
because there was there was the manual versus no manual.
Yeah,
so why just get rid of that?
Yeah, it's possible, especially since they're trying to funnel people into more money.
And then maybe you have S's.
Yeah, so you have a Carrera S, GTS.
Turbo S, GT car.
Yeah, it will probably go, and then obviously convertibles of those variants because that's not that much of a difference for them. Again, they didn't say what model lines were out. They gave high level on 718 Boxster and Cayman since those are out of production already. They didn't specifically say, and we can just go ahead and assume those platforms are gone and maybe just not coming back at all. We were hoping they would, on prior podcasts talking about it, but you did break up the good point of, especially with them struggling, maybe those cars never come back, at least for the immediate future, not like indefinitely, but probably until they start printing money again.
New time, new model, and then bring it back.
Let it sleep for a while. Maybe another 4 or 5 years, let it sleep, and then secretly be working on something and hit everybody back with like, haha, here, it's back. I'm, of all of these, I'm not that shocked by, but the biggest one I am still shocked by is the 718 Boxster and the 718 Cayman. Them not going to bring back that car is, I still am not a believer yet. I mean, a few years will have to pass, and I think secretly I'll still wait. I mean, it's going to be a significant amount of years for me to be like, all right, I think it's not coming back. Probably like 3 or 4 years. I'm like that,
like a full cycle or a half cycle. Yeah. I mean,
I'm like that boyfriend that's in denial. She'll be back.
Yeah.
She's going to come back. It's like, you're 2 years in. She's like, has she called you at all? You're like, no, not at all. She's just kind of figuring things out, but she's going to come back.
Yeah.
Like she's dating a bunch of douchebags right now.
She's feeling it out.
It's going to be really bad. She's going to see how good she had it. She'll be back. And then, 5 years on, hey, is she coming back? You're like, hey man, that's a sore topic. Let's not talk about that.
Still holding up.
Yeah.
Still holding up.
I guess she moved on. Yeah. What tipped you off? She got married and had kids? You're like, no, but
just placeholder.
Just
placeholder.
Yeah.
She's coming back.
She knows that I don't want kids, so she just wants to knock that out of the way before she comes back. That's all it is. But yeah, I am actually thoroughly shocked that they made this announcement on those two cars, because again, we all know they don't have to follow their word, but the fact that they had this conversation with a pretty big automotive journal outlet in Europe, you think he would have, I guess I'm trying to play devil's advocate with it and not read too far into it.
You just think you'd make more money on the lower cost stuff than you would.
So I guess maybe I need to be more okay with it, because the fact that they verbalized it and they knew it was a press junket and it was going to come out and they were going to be quoted on it, I guess they were comfortable saying that because they are confident that car's not coming back.
Yeah.
Instead of just trying to bamboozle everybody, because if they weren't sure, they probably wouldn't have said that.
Or if they weren't allowed to say, they wouldn't have said it. That sort of thing, because they haven't really been saying that. Everybody's just been tea-leaving it and then thinking, and then the more and more numbers we've seen.
Yeah, and they're about to go through a massive layoff situation, and so a couple other VAG companies are too. So there could be that. Maybe it's their way to justify their work to their workforce to say, hey, we're not going to be making these cars either, so we're cutting back our employees. Thank you for your.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So like, we don't have this line, so we don't need X amount of people. Yeah.
So, but again, just like every company, those same people might have to go somewhere for a few years, and then, oh hey, now we need to hire 5,000 employees because now we're spinning this back up, and now the economy is doing well, and people want this car, and people are asking for it, and we're building it. So maybe in secret they're trying to shrink down to build more demand, I guess, in a way. Although I don't ever think there was a low demand for those cars, because I always, from every Q report that they would post, those always did really well. Even all the way up until they cut them off, they were still doing pretty well.
But it doesn't mean their margin was good on those cars, though.
That's true. But at the end of the day, it's units moved, though. That's on them if they're not budgeting properly. Like, as a consumer, we're seeing the end result as units moved.
Yeah.
So if it's costing them a lot, I get that part. But
then could they move it up to where they were making the money they wanted to make out of it without it being like a weird position with now, the 911 about the same cost, that sort of thing.
I think them trying to herd everybody into a smaller pen is going to backfire. That's just my thought process. Yeah. I think it's not going to work out well, because I feel like already prior to let's just rewind 3 years. That way everything is in production. That way we don't have to argue, oh, now it's out of production. Back when they were still everything on the board, we were talking about Caymans, even GT4s are being made, GT4 RSs are being made, everything's being made. I don't think they had a shortage of consumers purchasing high-level cars from them. However, if you don't have the initial platform, how the hell are you going to sell the high grade of that car.
Yeah, you don't.
So-
I see what you're saying. See, you feel like they're losing their funnel.
Yeah, so they're trying to funnel people that maybe were diehard into that stuff, because let's be real, GT4s and 4RSs aren't super cheap cars,
No.
and they weren't just sitting around on lots like, oh my God, nobody wants these, we can't move these. That doesn't happen, or wasn't happening. So
they barely were made for 10 years. I didn't think about
yeah,
that.
so like you can't if you're not selling you don't necessarily have to have a base, but if you don't even sell the chassis anymore, so you want to funnel all those people into a 911. So you're telling me the guy used to be really jazzed up about a GT4 or 4RS, his only option now is 3RS or GT3? That person's probably just going to take their money and go somewhere else. They're not going to just go, oh, okay, sure, I'll do whatever you want me to, and I'll spend my $250 here, even to compete with all of the other people that you've herded into the same pen.
Just go buy a Lotus or something else like that. Because
I just think they think they're gonna gain more customers that way. I think they'll lose more customers this way.
Well, they have that's a diehard subculture for a lot of people that they're not going to move off of, trading to different.
Well, they're hoping, they're
it,
banking on that. And I think it's a big risk, to be honest with you, because let's be real, there's a lot of companies making a lot of cars. Back in the day when there was only a handful of enthusiast cars to go out there and go after, and we're not have to talk about, oh, back in my day in like 1980 or 90, like it's not like that. I'm talking about like early 2000s.
Still 20 years ago.
Yeah, but I'm saying it was still modern era.
Yeah.
Cars.
There weren't that many.
There wasn't that many affordable. Like we have M3s that were around. There was no like monster variant. There wasn't like we got an M6. We've got an we had an M3 and an M5. We didn't have an M8. We didn't have
comps.
Yeah, we didn't have any of that. M4. We didn't have an M2. We didn't have any of that stuff. So it was those companies, and then BMW at that time was making their M division was actually making great stuff. Yeah. They weren't slapping the M badge on everything. Okay, so that's BMW. Okay, great. So then AMG, same situation. All right, we got an E63 AMG, or E55, I guess it would have been at that time. Yeah. Super sedan. They're making an SL55 if you need a two-door variant. They didn't have a ton of their AMG department. Similar thing. I mean, there was a couple other AMG variants as well there in there, but there was some flavor for the people that wanted that high-level stuff. Okay, so let's talk about Porsche. At that time, GT3 wasn't even their halo car. That was their track-focused drive. They were trying to convince people. So at that time, turbo was the big dog.
Yep.
So if you wanted a Porsche turbo, you went and bought a turbo, or you could get a 911, which was still a enthusiast car. So you're looking at these cars. Okay, so at that time, what does Audi provide? S5, I think around that time. Junk. Like, if we're being honest, they're much better now.
It's just like the Mercedes where it's not really, it's sporty, but not really.
Yeah.
Not what you think
more
of.
More of a Autobahn bomber, highway cruiser, big power, heavy cars, not really nimble, not known for that. And it sucks because, well, the reason why I'm bringing up M stuff is you'll see later in the show. But that was when they just did wild stuff, right? Like they did an M Coupe, they did an M Roadster. They were doing, their M division was serious about cars as opposed to worried about moving units, right? Like they were like, hey, we're the ultimate driving machine, right? Like I don't know if that still holds. They make fast cars, but my point about all of this, where I'll package this up, is those cars did well. And they made lots of E46 M3s. I mean, thousands and thousands and thousands of them, right? And there was no shortage of them. However, they still sold a lot of 3 Series. They sold even more of those, right?
Just because of that, that's true.
But the difference is that those cars were a lot more affordable. So when you shrink your brand like Porsche, let's just bank on saying, okay, Carrera S is now entry level. So you're telling me entry level now is like 155 or 160 with no options?
Maybe that's the case. Maybe with this, did they make a base that's way cheaper, like a 912, like we kind of talked about before?
Got to have a gap car, man. There has to be a gap car in there.
It's kind of seemed like they're going backwards, and I agree with that because they were at a small point where they just sold 911s until the Cayenne and all that, and then they started expanding.
Yeah.
Because they realized they could do that and come in at a different price point. But now they have too many things. So, I mean, I guess,
you could. It's pretty easy. It's not rocket science. You could turn a lover into a hater really, really fast. You can have all these kids or young aspiring professionals that are coming up that are priced out of the market, and somebody else is going to buy their loyalty because they're going to be able to work their way up the ladder. As we talked about before with Porsche, where it was their goal was to get you in the door. Their goal was that, hey, let's get you in a Cayman, like a brand new Cayman S. And, you know, they have good resale value. You drive that for a few years and you work hard at your company, stack some more money up, maybe get a promotion or something. Bring that car back to us and trade it in, and we'll get you into a 911 and move up that train. I mean, like, that's the whole like process. But if you don't have something where somebody can come in and there's not an aspirational car, I mean, no one's out there having aspirations of, I want a Panamera, I want to buy a Cayenne and work my way up. That's just transportation for a lot of folks. Like, that's not like, oh yeah, man, I got an enthusiast car. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of people that think those cars are because they have a Porsche keychain and they have that, and they're like, I have a Porsche. And it's like, oh, what do you have? It's like, I have a Panamera. It's like, stop talking to me. Like, that's cool that you have that, but you know,
that's an accessory to.
Well, that's having I'm not a Lamborghini person, but if it's like, oh, which Lamborghini do you have? It's like, I have an Urus. You're like, don't talk to me. Like, that's not a Lamborghini, basically. No. And not that's a rude saying, but at the same time, it's you're only saying that when they're bragging. Like, if they say that in just conversation and they're at peace with it and they're like, oh, yeah, it's my daily, it's cool, I love it, you know, it does everything I need it to do, and that's a different conversation. But if somebody's out there throwing keys around like there's some Billy Badass and you're like, bro, you drive a Panamera 4, like, take it easy.
You're
like,
just saying
that's a cool car, but...
Yeah, not only that, but they're not experiencing what you would probably consider the soul of the company and you know, that sort of thing.
There's no race... What?
No.
There's nothing related to that. Like, I mean, like, you can really, really string it out, I'm sure, and you talk to a Porsche engineer, it's like, oh, yes, like, the hybrid system has some type of lineage back to the hybrid car. It's like some. Like, okay. Which is not changing the driving dynamics of that car at all. Yeah. I'm just saying, looking at the thing from the outside in, the whole goal is, if you... at least it used to be for them, and they were showing it, you want people to have brand loyalty, right? They want that brand loyalty.
Well, they have the hype car now. I think that's more the struggle. They have the 3RS.
Yeah.
It's hyped up. Yeah,
right now.
What's, like, even you get rid of all this, and you even have a 911, what's next that's going to carry that? Mm-hmm. You're not.
Well, here's a great exercise in it, since this car's being compared to it, and has been for a long time. The Huracan, right? They're saying the 3RS, and they have been saying since the 3RS came out, is the new Huracan. It's the entry-level badass car, whatever. Like, you're not buying the big dog. Like, basically, you're not buying the GT2 RS. They don't make it anymore, but still, it's the one step before that. But every bro or .com guy or, you know, financial bro or somebody who's inherited money or, you know, busted their tail and think that, you know, I'm sure you posted that thing on our thing about Magnus talking about the biggest poser car that there is, right? The new 3RS. Yeah. I don't necessarily agree with that, because there are some drivers with that, but he's not necessarily wrong either, because there is a lot of clout chasers who buy those cars and like, oh, I got some special color and I have this and I have the boards and I have this deviated stitching and all. It's like, so does that change the car, how it drives at all? Oh, the answer is no. Yeah, it is no. So, like, I would see, like, the most gangster 3RS would be just black on black, no bullshit on it, or just white or silver, because everybody's chasing PTS, right? Like, everybody's chasing this. But anyways, I digress. The point of that is the guys to walk in there, unless they're just bags of money, never even owned a 911, and then they're just going to walk in and be like, I want a 3RS. It's like, okay, well, your option is you don't have 3RS money. You're young. So you have what, .com money? So if those guys are clout chasers and they come in there, those guys are going to buy a 992.2 Carrera S. because that's, to them, that's poverty spec.
Yeah.
Right? But they don't have 3RS money. So how do you keep them around? You don't. They go somewhere else. And then they go hype up another car, or they follow these TikTokers or YouTube people, and they're like, oh, you know, the joke about the G80. Oh, I'm going to go get an M3. I'm going to do this. I'm going to boost it. I'm going to go chase 1,000 horsepower because I'm a dipshit and I have a broccoli hair and all this stuff that goes along with it. But you still aren't bringing the people who actually want to drive in. So they're basically changing their demographic of people. And I think personally for those people are not loyal people. That's what they're not recognizing.
There isn't.
Those people move to the next hot thing. People like you and I and many of our listeners, we're loyal people. We buy the cars because they drive well. We drive, and I've said this many times, and I'm sure there's many listeners that listen to us, and I'm sure you think this way too. I wish they cost nothing, because then I could have more of them.
Yes.
But that is not the world we live in, unfortunately, because usually a product that delivers better than its intent ends up costing more. I.e., you can go down the rabbit hole and we won't, but a lot, if you're into bourbon, you can go chase bourbon. That it costs more because it's produced better, and it produces better than expected. You can do it with the watch thing. You can do it if you're into knives. You can do it if you're into guns. It doesn't matter. Like, there's an echelons to all of this. And the problem with that is quality products cost more money. The difference is the delta of that product, meaning some places are reasonable about their charge. I feel like Porsche has gotten unreasonable about their delta for what they want to charge for their cars. Like, they've gotten to a level where it's past inspirational or aspirational to go get. It's past that point. It's almost at the point where people are defeated. And that's never a good look, where people are like, oh, I used to be able to, if I busted my tail, I could afford this. Yeah. Someday when my kids go to college and I have some disposable income, I could afford this. That goalpost has moved so far in such a short amount of time. They've alienated so many people. And because of that, when you alienate people like that, that doesn't make them, like, a lot of folks, some people get a chip on their shoulder and it's like, all right, I'm going to work harder to get more. Or they're going to say, F you, I'm taking my money elsewhere. And majority of the people are going to do that. Majority of the people are going to go, you know what? I bust my ass for my money. I don't see a promotion in sight. I don't see my financial situation changing anytime soon. So you've just inspired me to go buy another fill in the blank.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so a way to look at that too is they don't even have to go through that funnel cycle anymore. If they have the hype car, they just get the people with money paying up for it, and they get the money now versus over a lifetime not really building a customer, because they don't need to, because they know there's no loyalty there.
Yeah.
But it also gives them the same credibility of being a luxury brand and a symbol, which is what they wanted to be.
But what does that do for you from a longevity standpoint when your history depicts what you used to do?
But it doesn't matter what your crowd used to be. It's where your crowd's at. So if you're
but when those people leave you because you don't make the hype car anymore, what happens to your financial situation as a company is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Because you've chased away loyalty to chase what you just said.
Yeah.
Money and luxury. Well, money and luxury is not loyal. Money and luxury will go wherever money and luxury wants to go, and whoever makes the next hype thing. So you've put yourself in a paradox as a company. Your next hit has to be a number one. Your next hit has to be a number one.
Which I don't think
I don't care who it is.
3Rs being that.
I don't care who it is. You can't go back to back to back to back to back. Like, they got lucky. They kept hitting with the GT products that they were. But I have a sneaking suspicion that all those lake beds are drying up as we speak, or have already dried up. So, like, what are you going to do then? Go price up and hope your loyalty people keep buying? Dude, there's so many people already pissed before this even announcement. Yeah. So, I'm ever going to stop liking Porsche? Absolutely not. But my bank in my mind has always been in the vintage stuff.
Yeah.
And
it's cheaper to go that route than it is anything right now.
I feel like most people that are listening, and like, there's a reason for it, right? Because of this. We don't want to get caught up in this hype train. We don't want to be associated with those people. So there's a clear divide between enthusiasts that want to drive and track and do things that we want to do, as opposed to people that are like the look at me people.
Yeah. Well, and how much are you overpaying for right now?
Yeah.
Because I mean, you're not even if you don't consider. I mean, nobody likes to lose money, but with it being hyped, it's overpriced. And so, when is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Because
what's going to happen is because when everybody dumps on those cars, that's when it's going to happen, and everybody moves to the next thing. So
it's going to take the new 3RS or new something.
If they stay there.
Yeah.
If they stay there. Because they'll be trading their 3RSs on in fill in the blank with some other company. There's no loyalty there.
Well, I mean,
they're just lucky. They're just lucky that Temerario's not really hitting that well, because it didn't come out the gate the way the Huracan did. Like, those Huracans sold off the shelf. Like that model line alone infused billions of dollars in the Lamborghini that they have never seen before in their entire existence.
Yeah.
That vehicle alone changed them. Yeah, they sold some Gallardos. They did pretty good with that entry level, but I mean, nothing to the scale that those Huracans did. Nothing. I mean, I think they sold like 45,000 Huracans.
Wow, I didn't realize.
Which is insane.
That's a ton, yeah.
But they sold them all.
Yeah.
And those are $300-something plus $1,000 cars, right? I mean, they were everywhere. I mean, you could rent them on Turo.
But yeah, but maybe that's that could be a total use case for a 3RS.
No, I know. But my point is bringing that up is look at what the follow-up was to that Temerario failure to launch car. Nobody wants that car compared to the way they wanted the Huracan. So my point is, you're only as good as that hit. What's Porsche going to do when their second, whatever they decide they think is going to be a hit, doesn't hit?
Well, that, and like they come in and all these trade-ins come in wanting, and close to what they paid
and they're
for.
Already, and they're already in the hole.
They're definitely about 40,000 less units than the Huracan. So
yeah, I think that they're trying to fix a problem by making another mistake. Personally, I mean,
we'll see. That's the thing. I mean, time's going to tell us whether this is a good decision, and obviously it's a money-driven decision, and it makes sense from the saving money perspective.
They're just strip mining their own stuff.
But
That's what they're doing.
It saves. Well, I mean, it makes sense from saving money perspective right now and the tunnel vision currently.
Of course,
not like you said, like over the next 10 years.
But that's what got them in this too, because they were making a decision with the electric car for that time period, as opposed to saying,
because all the laws in 10 years it'll be fine.
Let's pump the brakes. Are
here.
Let's pump the brakes instead of like, can we get away with hybrids? We've been making hybrids. We already know how to do hybrids.
We kind of know how this works.
Like, instead of taking that electric Endeavor and face planting, and I guess the best way to say it, like in my mind, because I always try to look at things that we've gone through in life or other people have gone through life to try to make things. So I take an example, and make it smaller for and my mind goes to immediately, you're taking a college exam, everybody in the class, but maybe a few people failed the exam. So what are one of the failures, and you tell your parents or your friends, girlfriend, whoever will listen to you that gives a crap about your grades, and say, well, of the 20 people in the class or 25 people in the class, 20 of us failed it. That's like kind of the EV thing. It's like, oh, well, there's 20 of us that failed it, so I wasn't wrong for failing it. So you're trying to rationalize your failure because everyone else failed. And it's like, okay, well, there were 5 that didn't. So why weren't you one of those 5? That's the question I want to ask. Like, that's how my brain works. Instead of hearing, hey, well, everybody else got killed, so I got killed too. But those 2 guys didn't get killed. How come they didn't get killed? It's like, because they fought their way out of there. Yeah. It's like, oh, okay. Why didn't you fight your way out? So I know that's a oversimplification of what happened there, but at least that's just how my mind works. It's just kind of one of the, and I feel like Porsche is supposed to be an elevated brand. So I think they're tacking on excuses of, oh, well, the EU is doing this. I mean, what they did is they did something they don't ever do.
Yeah.
They move too fast.
Yeah.
They usually move too slow. And it bit them on the ass.
With technology,
this one time they did it, it bit them on the ass.
That's true.
They usually are the last to market with their shit. They were trying to be first to market with all their stuff, and it bit them on the ass.
Well, and a full shift on like everything. Like they've never made an electric car. They don't know.
Yeah.
The first, and then now, yes, you made a hybrid, but that doesn't mean.
And think about all the stuff we saw too while that was coming out. They pumped so much of that bullshit into all of their sales rep, all of their places. They put such a big campaign. They spent so much money parading these cars around, doing all of these things, doing all this stuff. Oh, we're going to do a Nürburgring electric car, fastest time. Oh, we're going to do the indoor longest burnout with it. We're going to do
24-hour endurance.
That all falls into the who gives a shit category.
And the Mission E actually looked a lot better than Taycan. So
yeah, I mean, it all falls into the no one gives a shit category, literally. Other than the people that are patting themselves on the back, like, we did it, guys. You know, it's like, you know, cool. It's like going to the moon in 2027. It's like, hey, we've been there, pal. Good job. Here's a gold sticker for you. It's just one of those things where no one cares.
Yeah.
No one cared. And no one's going to care. Like, no one's going to care about that stuff because the people that they want to buy those things, those people don't care about those things. Those are their, you know, commuters that live in the city and they think they're doing good, and if they don't pay attention to the lithium mines in Africa and what's happening with all that, you know, they want to pat themselves on the backs, you know, they wear Toms, they do all that stuff, you know, Whole Foods, all that crowd. You think those people care about Nürburgring times?
Probably not.
You think know the room, bro.
Well,
Come on, because people like you and us care about that stuff, but then when you see what the car they're doing it with, they immediately lose us too, because we're like, you know what? I don't give a shit about that.
Yeah.
So now that car falls into a category that no one cares.
Yeah. And the whole market has gone so cheap. Like, there's no way you can be competitive.
No. You're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to double down and make a GT Taycan. So I'm going to make people buy this to get allocations. That's how we're going to sell these cars. So now you're strong-arming your clients that we've talked about before, which is a shit move.
The loyal clients.
Yeah. You got to buy these. You got to do this. You got to, you know, it's almost like an escape room. All right, pull these 3 levers on the right, shake your foot, and do a dance with your left hand, and then the door opens. Like, that's how you get allocation.
I still got a Taycan GT.
Hey. You know, you need another person. You're like, hey, grab that lever. Grab that lever. Like, it's like, dude, what the fuck are we doing here,
You
man?
won another Macan.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you open the thing up. It's like, congratulations, you have a PTS Macan on the way. It's like, fuck.
That's the 3rd one this week.
Yeah. Like, snake eyes again. No allocation for you. No soup for you. Anyways, it's just a, you know, you've owned at least a Boxster. I haven't owned either one of these cars. But I'm a firm believer in if you own a product, I mean, every company does it. I mean, think about it. Even Rolex does it. Even they have, which are expensive now, but there was a stepping stone to that stuff. Entry level Rolexes.
Well,
you know?
I mean, we're gonna have to figure out what that. They're gonna have to figure out what that is for them.
Yeah, and right now on the horizon, it looks like nothing. So, are we ahead for dark times? I would say it depends on what your definition of dark times is, because if you're not a new car buyer, none of this stuff matters. Like, a lot of this stuff falls on deaf ears, especially a lot of the people that are listening. It's still a good table talk, but at the end of the day, you still need to have a pulse on the company that you have enthusiasm with, even if you're buying older cars, because if they're in dire straits and they're going like into a dark age, which seems like we're being led to, that affects us in a lot of ways, right? That affects us from a selfish standpoint with product placement, them spending money on events, i.e. Rennsport, stuff like that.
Well,
like, all of this stuff could dry up, right? All of this stuff could say, hey, we're tightening the purse strings. We don't have the money. We're not even making an entry-level car. They have all the excuses in the book, right? Like, we're not going racing anymore. We're only doing customer programs. We're only doing this. So my point is, yes, you might not be buying new cars, but this can impact all of us still to a certain degree. It's just, it funnels down. It all funnels down to us.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's big news, so that's why we spent a lot of time on it. Some more big news: Goodwood Festival of Speed that just finished up. Very cool stuff there. I would say the biggest takeaway from that is they made an announcement that they're going to be coming to the U.S.
Yep. Feelings.
Yeah, so I don't think that's, obviously they're still going to do the UK. That's their home, obviously. But the extent of what that looks like, they didn't go into it. It was just they made it a big deal, which I think it is a big deal, but they didn't say year or location or what that's going to look like. They just said they're coming to the U.S.
Yeah.
My theory behind this, obviously, wherever this lands, the Goodwood Festival of Speed, if you're not familiar with it, the core of what that is, it's a hill climb event.
Yep.
And then manufacturers come there. It's show and display. Some people run their cars up, brand new cars for manufacturers just to display them. They're not trying to compete. So it's 4 days of that.
Yep.
So I would think to not lose the core of the event, and it would diminish the experience if there wasn't a hill climb. If they're coming to the U.S., it has to go somewhere where there's a hill climb.
It's got to go to Pikes Peak.
I mean, that's a hell of a I mean, we're going to do abbreviated hill climb because they're not going to run that whole thing.
They cut it short anyways for a lot of that stuff. But that's my first thought was Pikes Peak. I don't know where else they're going to be doing it. There's nothing.
There's
a
couple hill climbs. I think there's one in New York,
but not with a castle, not with the same property.
You're right, but Pikes Peak doesn't offer that either, though.
Yeah, I know. I was just saying the hill part, and there's nothing to say it doesn't end up in California.
I mean, they're a big enough thing where I wouldn't be surprised if they built a damn hill climb somewhere and hosted an event somewhere, to be honest with you.
They might. I mean, that might be the better option for them to do.
Or close to maybe whatever track allows them to build a hill climb, maybe build a hill climb.
Do you think they're feeling like they're at capacity of what they're doing with the events where they need the third, or they saw the World Cup and they said, we can make money too, let's...
No, I think if anybody they're probably looking at Luft.
Yeah.
And seeing that Luft moves around. Luft is successful. Like, these events move around. And I think it's a big enough brand. It has been for a very long time. And I think it's not, I don't even think it's about a capacity thing. I think that they think they're probably just losing a lot of U.S. market stuff. Like, I've been, I know the few others have been, some diehards have been. It's not easy to go for a couple reasons, right? So if you're in the U.S. and your family's not too keen on going to Europe for vacation or England, because let's not just say it's Europe, because it's just England, and you don't want to go to the south of England for just a car event. If you got wife, kids, all that stuff, it's kind of a hard sell. Yeah. Maybe they're looking at it like, if we go somewhere in the U.S., this is an easier sell for a lot more folks. And I kind of agree with that. Like, I agree, our country's big enough where we could probably pull something like that. I don't think they'll be foolish enough to run it at the same time. That would be stupid. Like, why would you do a Goodwood Festival U.S. at the same time as the Goodwood Festival's happening at the Duke's grounds?
It'll be September, October, like everything else.
Yeah, I'm sure. Right? But ideally, like, it would be cool if they did maybe spring.
Yeah, they're gonna have to separate it because they do have their revival and they have their regular festivals of speed. So there's gonna be a third one involved. So they're gonna get cars, and some of those cars. Yeah,
but when they do the revival, it's a totally different vibe. It's a totally different thing. That's more centric.
I'm still saying that's
track racing events. So. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure they'll hire the arms of people that they'll just break up. They're groups of people. They'll take some of their experienced folks. They'll take people that have never worked for them before, and then they'll hire them, and then they'll mentor those folks. That's not going to be the hard part. I think location's going to be more of a difficult thing than anything, because if you're trying to replicate what you have there, I don't see how you have an event that's going to be called that not have a hill climb. And I think the challenge is there's only a handful of hill climbs in the U.S. It would be. You'd almost have to build something around it, which they're more than capable of doing. Yeah. And that's probably what we'll see.
Tail of Dragon. Yeah. Calling it now.
But the whole point of that is so people can watch.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to see anything.
Yeah. So
where's a good location that has built-in infrastructure where you can actually
I'm thinking the best thing that they'll probably do is they'll probably have to do a track. Yeah. They'll have to pick a track that allows them to build a hill climb at the track. Yeah. And they'll spend some time building it. And then that way they can still, because how it works at Goodwood is they have all the paddocks, they have all the cars on display, all the manufacturer booths are there. So you have to have a big area too.
What about just looking to take a reverse?
Yeah, the issue with that is I still don't think you can do. I mean, you could probably make,
because they have the hill and everything.
Yeah, the whole point of the hill climb is it's supposed to be less than a minute long.
Yeah.
And
they just cut out the roof. They cut out the last turn, like from the corkscrew back to, I don't know which turn it is, back to the straight.
The issue with it just wouldn't do the same thing because they have flint wall there. They have a lot more stuff going on.
There's no dynamics.
And they're never going to put anybody that close to the track so you can watch. So, like with the hay bales, how they do it, it's going to be a unique challenge for them because they have a very unique setup there that they're able to control, and like what they've been able to create, able to create there. And we may actually get some type of abbreviated version of it. We may not get what I'm hoping for. We may not get the core of all that. We may just get, and maybe they're hoping, okay, whatever this is will entice them to come to the full event. Maybe that's what this will be. Maybe this will be an appetizer to say, oh well, I want to see the main event. Yeah,
because there's still so many brands. Now I'd have to ship their stuff over to the States for them to do it. I wonder.
But people would do it. Like, people like coming to the U.S. We're pretty chill with, like, as far as like letting cars in for events like that. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. And it didn't give a year either, so it's TBD. So they're strategic about it, where maybe they are going to build a place.
Yeah, or maybe they're just gauging interest to see. Like,
well, I think there's always been interest. At the fact that they verbally committed to it, I think maybe what they're going to do is they may be secretly already have a location. They're going to build something out. They're going to build all this stuff out, and it's going to be a venue. And you know what it might turn into?
Well, yeah, it's going to be at Willow Springs.
I heard that too, but I don't know if it's going to be at Willow though, because I don't know if Willow going to support that. Because have you seen what Willow Springs looks like, dude?
That's what I'm saying. So,
well, I mean, one announcer said that.
Yeah.
The reason why I say that is, I mean, have you pulled up what Willow Springs looks like?
I've seen people race on it, yeah.
It's like a damn desert.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing, there's no hill climb there. Like,
I don't get that.
No. I don't know why, like, that would be there. So then now you're turning it into, if it is there and they don't build something, now it's just a track event. So I don't think that'd be, personally, like, I'm not going to go all the way out to Willow in California just to watch some guys run around on track where we could.
They're speculating fall 2028.
Yeah, so that's some time.
So entries start in January 2027.
I think Willow was for sale at one point.
No, maybe they bought it.
They could have secretly bought it or something, and then maybe they're going to change. Well, I mean, the track will remain, but maybe
this is all desert. We can just mow this stuff down.
Well, the track will probably be there because a lot of people still use it, and they need the track portion would make sense if they brought a revival to the U.S. too, because they need a track for that.
Yeah.
So then
it does have castle. Then he just builds a castle right next to it.
You build like a faux castle, right? The U.S. castle.
But somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, if all of that goes into that, then it'll be awesome because they'll build a hill climb.
California makes most sense for the weather.
I thought it's the same thing too.
And desert.
Willow gets hot though, man.
I'm not saying it doesn't get hot, but maybe it doesn't rain that often.
No, it doesn't. But what they're going to have to do is pick a good time of year to do it because it gets really hot there. But yeah, they have to. I'll close with they have to build a hill climb there. Like if they're going to do it there, I'm sure Willow will allow them to do it. Maybe they own it and they don't need permission and they'll just do it.
They just recreate the exact same thing for me. It looks exactly like the same. That'd be insane.
Dude, anything's
possible. I'm sure they won't do that just because they want something new.
Yeah, they'll want a different vibe, but they'll definitely, if they add all that there though, and they add, I don't know, like pavilions, and they add all this stuff in there, that can definitely change.
It'll be
what
like,
that looks like.
It'll be like the same thing how like the Grand Tour from Top Gear Transition was like a lot of it looks the same, but it's a little different.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting. All right. I had a good exercise with this, and I sent it to you. I know you maybe had time to read it or maybe not.
I looked through it.
So, because 911s in the market for all 911s have moved up across the board, obviously, and we've been talking about that a lot on the show. I'm not going to talk about how much each variant's gone up. That everybody already knows that. That's still happening. What I want to talk about more of that kind of piggybacks onto what we were talking about, them cutting out variants. So in your mind, what is out there that kind of drives like a 911 where you could go spend your money somewhere else? I'm not advocating for people to do that, but let's be realistic. There's a lot of folks out there that have other bills and that are not going to go out there and buy a 2013 Carrera S for $80,000. Because if they have $80,000, they're not going to buy a 13-year-old Carrera S PDK, because that is not, for them, is not sexy, right?
Yeah, why would you? It's a lot of money too.
To be fair, though, if you really break down the dynamics of it and looking at what this exercise was pretty difficult to do, because obviously you're not going to get an engine placement's never going to be the same, because no other car manufacturer is doing that. So that's out. And you're not going to get any car is never going to drive just like another car. My gauge was, can you get 65, 70% Porsche 911 feels from another car for far less money? My answer was yes, but it is not easy. There are a few cars that kind of fit the mold, and let's go over some of those now. And they're less than that 80 grand, and that was kind of my litmus. I was using a 991.1 Carrera S. Yeah,
so a little bit older,
because it's 400 horsepower, flat six, naturally aspirated. That's what Porsche generally. That's what it's known for. Yes, there's turbo variants, but at its core, flat six, the NA rear engine. That's what is a pure 911. That's what a real 911 is. And like a 13 without clapped out miles, I'm not talking about crazy mile, like not like 0 miles on it, but like 40, 50,000 miles. Those are selling at 80 grand, and they're not manuals.
Yeah.
However, 400 horsepower, car weighs 3,100 pounds.
That's
pretty stout.
Yeah.
Looks pretty subtle from the outside. You know, you don't have big wings. You don't have all this sexy stuff going on. It looks, you know, as a young kids would say, you know, regular traffic. Yep. But a lot of people like that, though, because they don't want to be flashy. And the people that can afford it, they can afford it. They want it to be good driving car when they want it to be, and they want it to be docile when they want it to be. And it kind of fits that category. However, do you need to spend 80 grand to get that effect? I think the answer is not necessarily yes. So let's go through some of these that I think that are some candidates. Number one, it comes to mind is an S2000.
Natural.
Now, before people say, oh, well, that car doesn't have the power, doesn't have this, that is true. Now, hear me out. And after I make my argument, again, I said 65 to 70%. I didn't say it was going to be that. We're never going to find engine placement the same. So, like, hear me out. The car weighs 2,800 pounds, so 300 pounds lighter. Granted, it's down 2 cylinders. It's only a 4. It's an inline 4. Yep. Only 240 horsepower. Yes, it's down. It doesn't have 400 horsepower. However, it's a high revving motor.
Yep.
The 911s are high revving motors, so they share that in common. They both come in manuals. 50-50 weight distribution on this car, though. Better than a Porsche, so it wins in that category. Now, it's gutless down low, just like a 911. So they share that as well.
Yeah.
And the big kicker here is the price delta. You can get a very, very nice one of these for 40 something.
Nice.
40, 50 of them. I mean, I'm not saying like collector quality, but good driver quality, not clapped out, not like somebody's put neon yellow wheels on. I'm talking like Bone Stalker. I'm not talking about some Hot Boy special. I'm talking about like adult driven, well looked after. You know, you're spending about 45, 50 grand. How do you feel about, like, we've got a couple more, but I kind of want to talk to Aaron about this a little bit. How do you feel about comparison wise does that make sense to you at all?
I think so. I mean, that's why I played this game by myself. I think the S2000, with it being revving to 9,000, it's from your list I see here, I feel like it's the most sports car, but I don't know.
And cult following too, not to cut you off. Sorry.
Too, yeah.
So that's important to some people, maybe not.
Yeah,
but
you still have a group to go hang out with.
Huge
and stuff like
enthusiast group that love them.
consumable, like everything else too. It's consumables are cheaper, so
Yeah.
there could be some things said for that.
And special, they're special. They went
they
out of
make-
their. They didn't. This
Yeah.
isn't a shared chassis car.
true.
It's a car that was made to do this. That's it. So that's why I think it's #1 on the list.
Yeah, there's a couple, a couple of different models, AP1, AP2. Pricing is actually really good. I thought they were a little bit more expensive.
I mean, you can go deep if you're going for collector grade.
Yeah.
You can go
Okay.
deep. But I was trying to keep it at 60, 70,000 miles.
But as long as you don't mind a convertible, I think that would be the only thing that I would say out of that. Like
Yeah.
my only con would be if you're okay with a
Roadster,
convertible.
yeah.
That's outside of that, it's supposed to be some of the best, best shifter feel ever made because
So
it's
that's
directly connected to.
Yeah, that's
the way the
another
linkage
reason why
works.
it's very comparable to 911 shifting.
Yeah.
A lot of journalists have said that. I spent a lot of time in an S2000, an AP1. They're phenomenal cars. Every car has its quirks. Obviously this is not what this is about. We're not talking about the quirks on it. And going into some of them can have some engine issues if they're not looked after properly and things like that. I would say that they have a very good enthusiast crowd, but it's a mixed crowd. So like if you're an older adult, you can find yourself.
That gives you some new friends, new perspectives, right?
Yeah, I guess that's a nice way to say it. Let's just say there's a younger crowd that does gravitate towards those, but I would say just because of that doesn't mean it's one of those situations where you have to hang out with those folks, and that doesn't define that culture. It's an arm of that culture within it. But there's plenty of guys that go out there and rip twisty roads in them and just put sticky tires and suspension, and they're not worried about putting the biggest Garrett turbo on there or or Jackson Racing supercharger and hotboying and putting a Le Mans.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is
lane
like
on
how far would you go with it when you got it? Would it just be like
OEM plus
coilovers?
OEM plus, man.
Tires,
Coilovers, probably bushings, control arms, probably some TEs, but not like big TEs. TEs where I could put chunky rubber on it.
Yeah.
Probably super quiet exhaust if I went aftermarket.
16-inch wheel
Yeah.
stock. Yeah.
So
I'll probably just keep those.
Yeah. I mean, just and way lower maintenance costs than a 911. So you're winning there too. Parts way cheaper.
Yeah.
So
I guess you're selling the GT3, huh? Sounds like.
No. I'm just saying, like, if you're looking for a car and you were one of these people that we talked about earlier in the podcast that was aspirational, it's like, I really want a 911. I want this. You're a car enthusiast.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody who's listening is a car enthusiast. They're not just brand loyal, so that's kind of why we're bringing it up. I know it's a Porsche podcast, but sometimes it's good to have these exercises, these like mental exercises of there are other things to do with your money, and still have a lot of fun.
Yep.
And I think that's a great example. I mean, hell, you could daily that car, and not worry about it, and have top down if you like that. Super high revving motor.
Did it have any top issues or
never?
Okay.
I mean, it's a Honda, dude.
Man.
Like it did everything it was supposed to do all the time.
Nice.
Like every time. Yeah, that car, I guess, I mean, it was a gap car because they weren't making the NSX when they were making that.
Yeah,
car.
it was very. I remember when they came out. And I was one of the staff sergeants. I was like, "Oh, you like the car?" He's like, "Man, it's really fun." I'm like, "Sure it is."
Yeah.
Because I just thought it was like convertible. I didn't know too much about it at that time. I was like,
and
it's
to
a
be
Honda,
fair, not a lot of people did.
I just thought it was kind of a weird thing, and then now it's like.
And for the time, they were expensive when they were new, so a lot of them kind of sat around on showroom floors
40,
because
they were about 40 grand.
The kids who wanted
back in
them
the
were
day.
us, early 20s, couldn't afford that.
Yeah.
So who was buying them? Older men, usually.
I think they were probably.
And then another cool thing about that car, I think, is another attribute in a way, manual only.
Yeah.
So you don't have to. Oh, is it PDK? Is it a dual? Dude, if you're buying an S2000, it's a manual only, brother.
No
That's
boxes.
it.
No boxes to check whenever you're doing the search.
You don't have to worry about it. That's all you get. And there's a little bit of variance between AP1, AP2, but I think this is a safe place to land. And I also think it has legs longevity wise, especially if you get one that's not clapped out and that's not hot boyed out. And again, it doesn't have to be collector grade, but I think they're past the point of depreciation. If anything, they're going to be on what we talk about with Porsches before, with 2-3% increase per year.
Yeah.
Long as you look after the car, it's safe money. So
Just
it's like
it's
if
in
you
that-
spend 45 on it,
Yeah.
in 3 or 4 years, it'll probably be worth 47.
Yeah.
And minus you logging another 40,000 miles during that time, probably not. But like if it's a fun car and you're taking care of it and you're tasteful with your mods and you can put them on and off, I think you get your money right back out of it. So that's one. Second one on my list. Now, I know thick girls are like a thing, and people like thick girls, and that's kind of why I put this one in there. This is the thick girl of the bunch.
Yeah.
I put GT350 in there.
Yeah.
Not the R, just the 350, because the R is like expensive.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're not like out of control expensive. They're like 80s. That's that 911.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to come in under that. So, you can get a 350 for a lot less than 80. But don't get an early one because they have crankshaft issues. I think LZ burnt one down. Get a later one if you can, because they fix that issue.
That's good.
So if you don't know, a little bit of background on it: high revving, flat plane V8, revs to 8250. Okay, pretty stout for a V8, right?
It's
uncommon for a Mustang. 54-46 weight balance on that car.
Okay,
so still
close.
pretty good.
Pretty good sports car.
Yeah, pretty good. Like pretty much where Porsche is with theirs, the opposite way.
Yeah.
46-54.
Yeah.
Like roughly. I think it's a little higher. I think it's like 56, like in the rear.
Yeah.
And 44 in the front, maybe something like that. Don't quote me exactly, depending on the models. But 500. So this is where this car punches good. 526 horsepower. So, over the 3,100 pound Porsche 911 at 400 horsepower, it weighs 650 pounds more, but has 126 more horsepower. So maybe a wash on that with, the 126 more horsepower.
Yeah.
So very doable. These are, you don't have a hard time finding these. They're out there, but they might not always be. Again, same kind of situation as the S2000. You can find some clapped out Hot Boy versions of them. More of kind of a, Mexi mullet stuff going on with these cars. If you're into that kind of thing. And then there's, some old men have owned these. So then you can get one of those that's not clapped out and it's not modded. And, it was the 7th blue one built on August 13th between the hours of 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. as they were closing the plant,
Comes with its own folding chair.
And it's got a special decal just to tell you that. So there's that crowd. But then there's also like the enthusiast crowd that, wants to track them, wants to take them to the mountains, and there's all that. So, it's arguable to say that Porsche people are the same way, like, with the event.
There's a whole mountain rally for them.
There's places where they go and put their boards out and stand on golf courses. So Porsche people do this similar stuff. They just
you building your board. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, they think they're better than the Mustang people, but they do the same crap. Anyways, so fat girl, but does come with some cool stuff, right? High revving engine, horsepower.
Power to weight's probably the best out of the group.
Yeah, you could probably pick. I looked at these anywhere between like 55 and 70. Get you a good one.
Yeah.
On the lower end of that, they're kind of, you're taking a little bit more risk. The lower that number is, the higher that number is, you're taking a little bit less of risk, meaning like looked after and, how it was used or what, however.
Or abused. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Talking about attrition with cars, a lot of these are made, but a lot of them are probably gone, since we know they like to go into crowds and wrap around trees, so we know there's that.
They have a particular taste.
Yeah, so these things get hungry for people and curbs and trees and all that stuff, so like long as you don't turn into one of those folks, you'll be all right. But from an attrition standpoint, there's probably a lot less of them now than there were when they first came out because of those reasons.
Yeah. I mean, we don't see many. The only time I've seen them is when Jeff had his. I really don't. I haven't seen him too often.
I don't see a ton of them either, but that doesn't say much. We're not going to the places they go to usually, so that's fair.
I guess that's true.
You know, it's almost like going fishing and being like, you know, I never see, you know, go freshwater fishing and like, I never see any groupers out here. Yeah. It's like, yeah, you're in the freshwater. You're never going to see a grouper out here. But I think that's a solid candidate. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's good. I don't know that it'd be my first choice, but
well, it wasn't. That's why I put it in number 2 slot.
Yeah, I think it'd probably be.
Trust me, this exercise was not easy, dude.
I don't know. Maybe 4 out of the cars you listed. Maybe 4. I don't know that I like the.
And again, another manual only, right? Like if you get one of these, there is no automatic option. Yeah. So there's that too.
I think I would need to drive one to see if I really liked it, but I think it just be big and kind of.
I would see that. I've never driven one, so I can't say yay or nay on this.
I've never driven it.
Stats only. I mean, believe it or not, and weight distribution, power, manual, enthusiasm. Like again, 65 to 70% close.
I'm sure it's great.
It's supposed to be track focused. So that's kind of why I was saying 911-ish.
Yeah. I'm sure it's great, but I'm sure the S2000 would be just for it being light would probably make it feel that much better to me, I bet.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the Mustang's 1,000 pounds heavier, but it also has more than double the horsepower. So it depends on what you like, right? Like if you like a V8, high revving V8, it's a unique car. I don't ever see them doing that again. They hadn't done one prior to that. And
it'll be another like
it'll blip
15,
on the
20 years.
Yeah, it'll be a blip on
something.
Blip on the radar of like, man, remember when Ford made this? So I think. Again, I searched high and low, and
it's a good contender, I would say, but I don't know that I would go after one as much as I would an S2000 or the rest of the cars on the list.
Yeah, I like the 350. The 350. I think if I did buy one, I'd probably want to get the R.
Yeah.
That would be.
What's the R get you that the 350 doesn't?
Just a little bit more light. Not a ton. Like you can, it has carbon fiber wheels optioned. It has a little bit more carbon, splitter tail. Just a little bit more race ready. Yeah. Almost think like GT3 and GT3 RS. Essentially between the two, it's like GT350 is like GT3, and then GT350R is like GT3 RS. Like just the dials turned up more on it. And then final car on here, and then we'll have a consolation car we can talk about. Just not because it's in this list, but just because I want to talk about it.
Yeah.
So this one is So this is a European one.
Yep.
So the M2, and I'm not talking about the current M2. I'm talking about the F87, the gen that was just outgoing compared to the new one. And the reason why I say that one is because it's a price point thing. Yeah. I'm going for price again. Like you can still get a new one, probably in the 50s. That was looking like used.
Yeah.
And then pick your poison. If you go rare color, you're going to spend 80 if you really want. But I picked this one because I feel like it's a little down on power. It's an inline 6 turbo, 365 out of the box. But these things receive tune very well.
Yes,
so like you can do a chill tune and still get 100 horsepower in this car. Curb weight on this car, lighter than the Mustang, obviously heavier than the Porsche and the S2000. 3450 curb weight, kind of chunky, not as chunky as a GT350, but you can get close in power. Like I think if you do a 100 horsepower bump, now we're talking 465, or you could just roll with this where this is at. Weight balance was really good with this car, 51.9 in the front, 48.1 in the rear. So pretty close to 50-50, like really close to 50-50. 7,000 RPM, red line, pretty good for a turbo car. Usually it's 65 is usually the max on those turbo cars, but 75 on that, pretty good. And you can get these as low as like 35.
Wow.
So this is going to be like a little. You could even get. I mean, I think you could get S2000 for 35, but it's going to be like less. They've made a lot of these, so you're going to have a better shot of getting one of these in the high 30s, low 40s. I think this is money well spent. Now on this vehicle, this does come in PDK and manual.
Yep.
Manual's obviously more sought after. But if you don't have to have that, you could probably save yourself a little bit of money. I think this is a good enthusiast spec car because it's small, it's compact, it's an M2. Is it a good rival for a 911? Not necessarily, because you're kind of comparing apples to oranges, but you are kind of with all of these cars. So like I said, this exercise is very, very difficult. I did spend quite a bit of time on this because it was so hard to find something with weight distribution that was good, good power, and not super expensive, and was an enthusiast car. So like there's a lot of categories that have to be checked to even get close to being compared to the 911, and it's still not delivering 911 stuff. So it goes to show you maybe that's why they cost so much, because it is hard to chase that and hard to find that.
The engineering time behind it for 70 plus years.
Where a car can be docile and go dominate in the mountains. It can go do well on the track. It can do and it can do the grocery thing. It can do all the things where you don't have to compromise anywhere. There are some compromises with the other cars that I've met, but again, there's nothing that's going to be identical where it's a mirror of like, oh, this brand makes this car, and so many journalists have written about, oh, this is a 911 rival. This is a 911 rival. There isn't really many. Like, you can go and argue. You could put Corvette in there. You could say, oh, well, you go get a Z06. It's kind of like that. Yeah, kind of. And I didn't put that in there, and I know that's there. I'd like to hear from the audience. Go ahead and post when this video comes out. You can put it on the YouTube thing and engage with us there. I'd love to hear what you guys think that is close. And again, the percentage that I was going for, I feel like is pretty low. Meaning, if I'm getting 65 to 70% of a 911, that's satisfactory. If I'm saving $30,000, I think that's the trade-off. Yeah. Like basically $1,000 per percent.
Yeah.
So it's like if I'm getting 70% there and I can save $30,000, I think that trade-off's pretty close.
Or more, yeah. And then over lifetime and things like that.
Yeah. And again, all of the running costs on all three of these cars are going to be cheaper than 911.
Yep.
BMW probably going to be the most out of this group, but still not like crazy. Yeah, but again, consolation prize, we don't have to talk about it because I didn't break it down, but weight distribution, high revving NA motor. You could go chase down a C6, Z06. I think that's a 7-liter in that thing.
Yep.
Nasty V8 in that car. Sounds amazing. But again, it has those bugaboos, right? Like that motor has a little bit of issues that you need to get. You got to handle the heads on that car.
Yep.
Otherwise, they can warp, I think, if you're not taken care of properly. But that's an easy fix. Like if you get one, it's not that, you can go take it somewhere and get it machined, and that's handled.
Should have brought our favorite dentist on. He knows all about it.
Exactly. Yeah, he bought one. Obviously, he loves it. He's always been kind of that. I like him too. I just, the issue with it is everything everybody already knows, so we don't even go down that. Like, but again, Porsche people are just the comparison. It's always been there. It's not a new development. They're basically just Corvette people that have more money. That's all it is. Not all of them, but just like not all Corvette owners are, knee-high socks and New Balances, and they're not all the same. Yeah. So, but they do have that stigma, right? Like, oh, my Corvette's got the lowest miles ever. Da, 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 da. And it's like, why'd you buy this thing? It's like, because I never want to drive it. I just want to tell you about it. Meet me at the VFW for $1 Pat Blue ribbons. Tell you what color my car is. Midnight blue metallic. Bet you never guess it.
I think he's reliving that story.
I get ear fucked at the VFW so many times. I just stopped going there because of that. So, consolation car, just because I've always liked this.
Yeah.
Ever since I was a kid. This is not, so we're off comparing.
Okay.
This has nothing to do with that. This is just more of an enthusiast car that I feel like...
Have you driven one of these?
Maybe some people have forgotten. I have driven one before. I drove Rob's.
Okay. Rob or Alex's or whoever. They all had it at the same time.
Exactly. Or Cannon's. Right? But it's a good car. They're not super slow. I would call them air-cooled quick.
Okay.
Air-cooled cars aren't fast. I mean, they can be.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about like a run-of-the-mill.
Those are also those type of cars you had to search for the right motor and the time and
So the car, I don't think it's been forgotten, but they didn't make a ton of them. But I know when I had a real hard-on for these when I was young, when they came out, because when they first came out was like 2000. I was 20 years old. So we're talking about the clown shoe. If you don't know what that is, that's an M Coupe. such a, and we were kind of harping on how this was the glory days, I feel like, of BMW. This was a Skunk Works car, has a big cult following. I feel like a lot of Volkswagen guys like you and I kind of lusted after this car.
There was one that was, whenever I was in tech school, some guy, it was so loud, but I was like, what is that? I heard it crank up, I was like, ooh, that's like that.
They just look so cool. They have huge, rear haunches on them. The epitome of it's like final boss hatchback. Yeah. Right? Because it's a hatchback, but it's Euro hatchback. It's an M car. Now there's two variants. You can get the S52 or the S54. There's a huge delta in price between the two. You can get an S54 that's been well looked after for like 30 and some change. If you step up to an S54, you're basically doubling that. Your entry points starts at around 70.
Yeah. Still got rod bearings and other stuff to address with the motor. Yeah.
But they're coveted because they made a lot less of them because that was later in the model line. So they only made, the S54 and that clown shoot for a couple years.
You're still getting E36 for the most part, right?
Yeah. So. Yeah, basically, so, the S52 variant, E36 M3, think of that motor in the US variant too of that car. Because so now, you can get real sticky. There's Euro variants of the S52 that had more horsepower. So that our S52 had 240. Euro had 300.
Because we had like an S50.
Yeah. So they had
S52 is what they had or something like that.
And had ITBs on it in Europe. And so it had 300 horsepower. Those cars are importable now. Like you can import that car if you wanted to because, we're past the 25-year rule on a lot of them. I always thought they were cool. I haven't seen one in the wild in so long.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, if I saw one to this day, it'd probably stop me in my tracks because for me as a car person, I always thought they were super polarizing. And the most interesting thing I think about this car, at least when I look at the people who like them, either you love them or you hate them. Yeah. Like there is nobody it's in between. It's like, yeah, those are all right. Like most people are like, oh my God, that's like hatchback final boss. And then there's other people, it's like, that is a stupid car. That thing looks dumb. The thing's so, like the proportions are wrong. Like it looks terrible. I like it just because of all the weird stuff that goes into it, right? The project of these guys building this thing in secret, not asking for permission for it. And then building it first and then asking for forgiveness later. And then they got approved and then they made them. I just think that's like a cool thing. Like that's OG, old school M department. That's when guys and girls used to love to make cars where the bean counters weren't involved. They're like, dude, we're just going to go take an M Roadster and we're just going to, how to weld, you know how to do this. So they just built this thing. And then presented it in enough, obviously, professional way where it got greenlit. Because if they would have bought a box of shit there, they'd be like, no way, dude, this looks awful. So clearly, they built a good car.
Like my Roadster's not holding enough beer. We need a hatchback.
Right?
Let's try it out.
It's like, yeah, exactly. Prost. You're like, how much beer we could carry in the back of this thing? They're like, this is a good idea.
And quickly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think, honestly, for me, it has a lot of panache. It has a lot of character. It has a lot of old school vibes. It has old school M Division stuff. I think they're cool. I brought this up just because we were on the topics of looking this stuff, so it put me in the mindset of looking at other things and thinking about other things that were cool and affordable. Yeah. And honestly, they're not super fast. They're not. But neither are air-cooled cars. Like you can go buy an 80-something SC, and that thing's punching out all of 180 horsepower. This thing at least has 240 horsepower at least. I mean, and you could, put a supercharger on these. Active Auto Works still, I think, makes them. They're still out there. Bavarian Autosports make them. Thing? Oh yeah. Turner Motorsports carries stuff for this car still. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff for it. I mean, again, this thing doesn't have. Again, it's an entry point. I've seen them for sale, like with the S52 in them. They got miles, but they're not clapped because usually people that had these kind of really like them. For 25 grand. Like if you got 25 grand and you wanted a cool, unique car that they didn't make a lot of, I want to say they only made like 800 of these things. They didn't make me.
This was a rabbit hole that I went down as well.
Super like
a while back.
And I'm still I never owned one. And think about this. I first saw one in 2000. It's 26 years later. I still think that car is cool. I'm kind of kicking myself for not buying an S54 when they were like reasonable back in the day, when all the money on them was like $45,000, and people are like, "You're insane! That's insane money for those things." Now they're like 90.
Yeah.
And another cool thing about these, it makes them also very unique. In both variants, they come in really cool colors. The interiors are really cool. If you've never looked into these, if you never looked into these, you can really go down, as Aaron said, a rabbit hole of, man, mismatching colors. You can get a Arctic silver exterior and Napa blue interior, or evergreen interior, and there's a lot of mix matching going on if you want that. Or you can just get black and black if you want to do that and fly under the radar. But you're never going to fly under the radar with this silhouette. Like, people are going to see it, and the cool thing about it is the people who know what it is, they know exactly what it is. And like, you're going to get attention for not a lot of money. Like, not if you want that attention, but I'm saying even if you just showed up at a Cars and Coffee, that car demands respect. Like, people see that car and people are like, "Oh shit, dude, it's a clown shoe." Like, even if you hate it, you still know what it is. Yeah. I would say, everybody raves about, "Oh, I want to buy, E46 M3. They made 1 million of those. They didn't make a lot of these. And honestly, from power to weight, okay, so like another thing that I thought was really cool with these cars, they don't weigh a lot. Like, I thought, oh, okay, you would think they would weigh a lot because of the hatchback, but you got to think about the platform it was made on. It was on that Z3 Roadster platform. So this car weighs all of 3,000 pounds. That's it. So it's pretty light.
Probably less because of the weight. Yeah, because of the hatchback.
Yeah, it's like 3,023 pounds.
Okay,
like,
so it's good. So
it's pretty light. Then. Yeah, pretty light car. So it's pretty good power to weight. So like, you think about it, it's like, oh man, if you go chase down an S54, that probably feels very lively in that car. So if you take the M3 variant of that S54 and that E46, you know how much that car weighs? 3,475. Yeah, that's a big. Those are chunky girls. And I owned one of those, and I've spent a lot of miles in an M3, E46 M3. I owned one. Todd owns one. I lived with one not that long ago for like a month. Yeah. They're beautiful cars. They drive great. But I would say, as far as feeling like it's an enthusiast car, I still feel like that car is still more of a cruiser. It just, the body of it, it's just it's a solid car though. Yeah. I mean, it feels good.
Well, it's a 3 Series with sports car aspects, and that's the M division's never been one to hide that either.
Yeah, and the thing about that car, in driving day to day, city driving, some spirited driving here and there, perfect car. Where that car really gets exposed, and I'm talking about minor mods, and I know there's guys that have gone off the rails and like done all types of chassis rigidity on them and subframe, all this stuff, and then put souped up motors, like gutted as much crap out of the car and turned them into a track weapon. I'm not talking about those cars. I'm talking about the day-to-day, run-of-the-mill. And this is Todd's experience because he owns one still. He took it up to the mountains and got absolutely destroyed by every 911 that he was trying to follow because the car is just too heavy for all that stuff. And that car's not stock. Yeah. He has a lot of seat time in 911s and air-cooled 911s. So he had a lot of
gearing's different, like all that.
Yeah, he was able to compare like the feels of it, and he's like, man, it just felt like it didn't have enough brakes, it didn't have enough this, it was short everywhere he could think. So my point is it's a lovely car, it's a beautiful car, but it's a lot fatter of a car than this clown shoe.
But I bet you his trust would be totally different if he never had 911 experience.
Probably, but I mean, even with that, like, he was comparing it from the driver's seat, but there was no denying that he wasn't able to run the same corners at the same speed as the 911s that he was with. And he only did it just because he wanted to see
what it was like.
Yeah, he wanted to see the comparison. It wasn't because he had to. He just was like, hey, I have this car. I've got a bunch of other 911s, but I kind of want to see what it's going to do. And he's like, holy shit, that thing's a brick, like, up there. Now, again, I know you can make him a brick and all that other stuff, but... And he's not driving stock 911s to give that car a fair shake. Yeah. But that M3's not bone stock either. But
it's not a horsepower freaks turbo one with 1,000 horsepower.
Exactly.
Either, so.
And it's not running some special diff and all this other stuff. But I mean, I would say a modern classic daily driver, M3 E46, amazing car, beautiful car. But it has that issue. That's why this isn't in that category. These cars aren't, you know, and that M2 isn't on its own platform either. It's a 2 Series that they turned in. And then I think the other 2 cars on that list that I mentioned, that
are more pure sports car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like more for that, even though they make the Mustang regular GT, like there's just more focus, I guess.
Well, it's still a sports car first.
Yeah.
Same thing with the S2000, only a sports car.
Yeah, that was its only thing. And I think that's the thing that the 911 shares a lot with those cars, is that it's only for that.
That's the big. I think I agree. That's the biggest difference.
And there's a lot of other journalists, smarter, more qualified, driven more stuff than me, and they always say not even just 911. And that's why Corvette's so good. Like Corvette is a Corvette. It's not like, oh, there's a 3 Series of the version of the Corvette. Like the entry level of that platform is still the Corvette.
Yeah.
And in that 911 is the same way. Kind of like the S2000. Like S2000 is the S2000. That's it. It doesn't share anything else with anything else.
Doesn't know how to be anything else.
No.
Yeah.
So I think that's where some of these are detriments, like where you go and get an E46. You know, they make a 3 Series of that car, and this is the daddy of that car. You know, the M3. And that is the one detriment of all of that platform cross sharing.
Yeah.
And the M Coupe's kind of guilty of that too, other than it just being a hatch. I mean, it shares the platform with the Z platform.
Yeah.
So it's based off of that. So it's no different. But I think the unique styling of this car can put you in a car for, let's just call it a good one, where at 30.
Yeah.
You can't say that about a lot of cars any day, and getting an M product on top of that, and not only just an M product,
and a little vintage, and a little nostalgia,
but getting you into like old school M division stuff, not like new school stuff, like we're putting M badges on M240i's type stuff. Like I'm talking about when the M badge actually meant something.
That's true.
So there's that final option. I know that was an outlier. That's not a cross comparison 911. I just have an affinity for that car. Yeah. I still may own one of those cars someday. I mean, this 911 pricing's weighs heavy on my mind. I'm sure if it's on my mind, it's got to be on you guys' mind. And if you're in purchasing or thinking about purchasing, just want to put that food for thought out there. I won't hate you for it if you go outside of 911. Obviously, the goal is there is no substitute, right? Yeah. That's cliche, but because they came up with that, but there really isn't. And this exercise is proof in that there is no substitute for it. I'm not agreeing with the pricing, but the market is the market.
Yeah, until it changes.
Yeah, the market is the market. And honestly, we all know how this works. And if you don't know how it works, you listen to the podcast long enough, you'll figure out how it works. Once they start going up, they don't ever come back down. That's just how it works, at least in the Porsche world. Like, because what happens is that becomes the new high watermark for the car. Like, it doesn't turn into this, oh, well, everybody who wanted it has fallen out of it, and they'll just drop like a rock now. Like, that just doesn't happen in the Porsche world. I mean, now it does to a certain degree. If you, like Aaron mentioned, if you pay $500,000 for a 3RS, you're in over your head. That is going to come down, but it's not going to come down in the reasonable money area. Like, I'm just talking about you personally are going to lose money, but whatever the market is on that car, you know, high 2s, low 3s, where that car is going to live at, it'll live there, but because you had to have the new hotness, you lost a couple $100,000 on it. That happens with every like specialty 911. I mean, that happened with the R's. There were people that lost $400,000 or $500,000 on that car buying them. The real people who got screwed on that car were not the people who got them because they were part of the 918 program. It was the people who bought them secondhand on that markup, because those people got them at like what, $210, and then they turned around and sold them at like $600. Like, literally, because they have no walls on them, they can turn around and sell it. So they made 3 times the profit on the car, and then the Touring came out, and then that car dropped all the way back down to like 300,000. So you lost $300,000 like overnight when the Touring came out. Those
they've
people
moved eventually. They've moved.
Well, if you hung on to it, they've come back up because of the collectability. But that initial like accordion effect, like the whoom, like that came back. But just like stocks, you stay in it long enough, you'll probably be made whole again. Like, just don't take the money out. Just you're like, oh my God, I lost $300,000 on it. Just, hey, ride that tide, man.
Keep staring at it.
Ride the tide. It'll, because those are back up now, like, and they have been for a while. Like, they're up in that 5-6 range. Took a while to get it back there, but if you paid that, you're probably like even Steven now.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else for him. Do you have anything else?
I guess this is going to be the marker of the vintage market, and that older market is about to move up again. I think that's what's going to happen with the moves Porsche is making now.
Yeah, you mean Porsche specifically, right? Yeah, and it has been, and so that's a good point.
So buy something.
Yeah, even if you think it's overpriced, like obviously just don't go spend money for the sake of spending money. Try to get the best deal you can still.
There's some good Cayman deals out there from what I've
seen. But
don't
don't feel
recently.
like you've got taken, like, because that money. I don't know how many times, if you're an avid listener, you know this. How many times on the show have we said, "Oh man, I remember when fill in the blank, when I thought that was all the money on that car," and whatever that number was, it's probably at least gone up by half, if not doubled. I mean, think about almost every air cooled you can think about, and that's happened not in the sense of, oh my God, we've turned over and it's been 30 plus 40 years.
No.
I mean, we've turned that over multiple times while this podcast has existed.
And the 993 is making a resurgence,
which is insane.
Nobody's business right now.
No.
It is.
I mean, it's full steam ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, clapped out 150,000 mile versions are selling for $130,000, and I'm talking about base 993 manuals and not a sexy color. I'm talking about like yuck silver with dove gray seats, 150 grand, 150,000 miles basically.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is happening out there? And there's just not a lot of them, and all the good ones people are hanging on to. And when you see a good one come up and you see a crazy number behind it, you know why. And it's hard because, and I mean, I'm sure you've seen it. Have you seen what the ask is on 993 C2Ss and C4Ss are?
Yeah,
it starts with a 2.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what the miles are. It starts with a 2.
So ridiculous.
It is. It's insane. I mean, you think about what you can get for 200,000. Like, even if that's enough, and it's not, that is not like 200,000 flat. It's usually 2 and change.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can go buy, well, you can't anymore, but I mean, that was Metzger RS money all day long, not that long ago. I mean, I know it's not anymore.
That's a down payment now.
Yeah, I know it's not anymore, but any day of the week, I mean, you had pick of the litter at that number.
Yeah.
Now that's what, 991.1 3RS money for a C2S, C4S.
Probably pockets of money too.
Younger people will be like, that's insane, I would buy the RS instead. Well, I mean, that apparently that air-cooled car still got a lot of legs in it, meaning like as far as price goes, right? Because, I mean, if they're that now, think about what they're going to be in another 10 years. Is that going to be a $300,000 car? Is that going to be a $350,000 car
it's the last
for a C2S? That's insane to think about that. Yeah. I mean, I don't even, my stomach's hurt. I got poo coming out thinking about that.
Just gotta back that one out. You don't.
It sucks because we love the car so much. Like, I hate that this is happening. I absolutely do hate this because I think that everybody who's into this stuff,
you want everybody to have a chance to experience it. And
I want everybody to have one because I feel like the community's better. I think the health of the community, if I'm being honest, especially like air cooled and even like GT3, Metzger early stuff, I want to say probably like, what is it? Maybe 6 or 7 years ago, I feel like the health was better. And what I mean by that is the unity of the people and like people wanting to help each other and hang out, and like purists who want to just love the cars for loving the cars and drive the cars. I feel like we've turned a page into this collector area, and I am not that. And I know that people are, and I'm not hating on them for that, but I feel like more people are that way because the cars are so expensive.
Well, I mean,
and I get it. You don't want to go out there and you don't want to spend $300,000 on an air cool and beat the brakes off the damn thing.
You've got to acknowledge the price, but you still have to acknowledge it even if you didn't spend.
Yeah.
Even if you bought it for 60. You got to acknowledge, like, well,
that's why the ones you do see for sale for the guys that did spend 50 or 60 on them are like, dude, I can go make 150 grand on this car. I'm not that attached to it. Yeah. So that's why they do it.
And they go buy an SC.
Yeah. I mean, they probably just get out of the game altogether.
I think so. Cash out.
Meaning like they're getting older.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking about old guys that don't even drive anywhere, 70-something years old. Like where they're like, I haven't driven that car in like 10 years. You're telling me that's a $250,000 car now? You're like, I'll take that all day. So now the guy who does buy it, as you said, now it's an asset, which makes total sense. I'm not mad at him for that. I hate that it's become that. I'm not mad at those people for that. Like trust me, I'm financially driven. I try to stretch my dollars where I can. I would not, if I spent that kind of money too, I wouldn't have this burning desire to go rock chip the face out of that car after I just dropped $250 on it.
Hey, Todd, what are you doing?
And just be like, hey, let's sandblast all the paint off the front of this car and just make my $250 worth, $100, like in 2 days. In 2 days, like let's knock $150,000 off this thing in 48 hours. How can we do it? That's how you do it. And I'm not mad at them because it turns. These cars were meant to be driven, and it turns them into lawn pieces now, which it sucks because it shouldn't be that way. Yeah. It shouldn't be that way across the board. I mean, S2000 shouldn't cost $50,000, $60,000, but they do. Yeah. I mean, for the longest time, you could get a nice one, and I'm not talking about years and years and years ago. Yeah, you could get a cherry one for $25,000. I'm talking about like with 35,000 miles on it that's lived in Newport Richie's garage from they bought it at Newport Richie Honda, and it's gone and got gas and oil changes only, and grandpa's about to die and he's going to sell his car that he decided to get because he didn't want a Miata, so he bought a Honda instead. Like that kind of level of kept.
It's a classy move.
Where it's a nice car, it's not beaten on, it's only seen like the old time, it's never seen rain. But everything's up. Everything.
It hasn't seen rain. They haven't seen rain 10 years.
Exactly. It's been raining. I didn't know that. And it's just a shame because I feel bad for everybody who's young that's coming up that's into cars. Because you're
but they're I mean, again, how we grow up, we probably didn't pay attention to half the cars that are good now, and then we realize they're good now. There's going to be the same subset of cars that are still somewhat affordable, the BRZs, the FRSs, things like that we'll probably look back on, and that's going to be maybe not a phenomenal car, maybe not a standing test of time car like some of these, but we're not going to know it for 15 years.
Yeah, I think those cars are good. I don't think they'll ever carry the clout though that like some of these other cars are carrying though, because there's just too much, like the formula comes into play in there. The abundance of them.
You think it's just too much? You think that the production is just
the saturation of the market will never make those $60,000, $70,000 cars. But the good part about that, what I was saying is I feel bad for them. At least they can land in those cars where they can, hey, I'm driving a cool car. It's manual. Yeah. It didn't cost me a ton. And those cars are the cars they're going to have to land in because they want to land in something vintage. Like all vintage stuff is up. Yeah. Doesn't matter what it is. Even, an E46 M3 manual with 125,000 miles on it's commanding $35,000. That was a $12,000 car 6 years ago. Yeah. So it's tripled in price. So I mean, that's still a lot of money. Let's not shake a stick at that. Like, no, not everybody's just sitting around and be like, oh, I can just go drop 35 on an enthusiast car and not put groceries on the table. Yeah. Because dad wants a fun car. Like that's still a lot of money.
Getting less groceries, you smell a trunk.
There you go. You can start Uber Eats driving or whatever, right? Like you just steal the groceries from the people that you're trying to deliver to, just one French fry at a time. No, but it's a shame because like as I age and everybody else ages, I'm sure we all see that. But at the same time, it doesn't make it any better. It doesn't. Like I almost wonder at what point. I've thought about this more recently because I'm thinking about a daily driver for myself. I wouldn't have thought about it this way. It's like, when will be the last Porsche I buy? Like that's kind of a scary thing to think about. And I don't mean like as another Cayenne. Like I don't count those. Yeah. Kind of like we were making fun of the Urus people saying I drive a Lambo. I'm not. Those will always be around. Those will always be in abundance. Car. Yeah. Like when am I buying my last one? And you don't know until you do it. Until you're like, oh wow, I'm not comfortable paying any more money after this. And it's not even about income. It's more about principle. Where you're just like, I'm not dropping $300,000 on a car that used to cost $80,000.
You just have 10 S2000s. It's okay. I don't have a problem.
Yeah. Well, I feel very fortunate that I own the 2 that I have, because I'm thinking after I get my next one, there might not be another one.
Yeah.
If I even get another one. So we'll see. I mean, again, not try to harp on it, but I'm talking about, like, 120,000 mile 996s are costing $90,000. Like, that's insane to me. And next year they might be over 100,000. So it's like, I don't feel comfortable spending 6 figures on, even though on paper it's still under its MSRP.
Well, I mean, no, it's everything shifted from where the vintage market was just a few years ago to the newest vintage market, which is that.
Well, all turbos are having, I think the 997s are, I don't know, if, even since the last podcast, they're in the stratosphere.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking cars with miles on them. Ask on them is like 190 now. I mean, that's not what they're that's the ask.
Yeah.
We all know that's not necessarily what they're going to get. Talking about, like, cars got 75,000 miles on it. It's not clapped out. It's nice.
Yeah.
Got like LMs on it or something, but no, breathed on very lightly, light mods. Yeah, 75,000 miles, 189. Cool. Really?
You know what? I'm sure all Todd's investments are just like everything he's bought.
I know. I'm like
I was like, of all the advice,
all the juicy stuff I feed him, dude. Like, he makes so much money on the cars that I'm just like, you should get this. You should, everything he has.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to take anything away from him. The guy's sharp. He's smart as shit.
I was just thinking about that. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I know we talked about it, then he bought one. We talked about it, and then he bought one. I was like,
I think the cars that I've suggested that he should make moves on, I would say, and I'm not going to name each one because that's like, that's inappropriate and people don't need to know all his business. But I would say, of all the cars that I suggested him to make moves on, I would say the least amount that he's equity from his purchase point on that car is maybe plus 20. Hey, if you guys need my services, let me know. I charge a little bit of fee. I'll let you know. I mean, and to put it in perspective, he's owned that car for maybe 2 years. So he made $10,000 a year on that car just by having it. So
just like $3,000.
Yeah, and then
$50.
And then the high litmus, I think, is he's probably plus 60 or 70 on a few others. So
good for Todd.
Yeah, I mean, if you have the portfolio to make the moves, I'm not
kidding. Like that just shows you that's a span of different things too, and
that's just I'm operating like I have his checkbook.
Yeah.
If I did, like, everything he has, I would have.
Yeah.
I just don't have that. I just don't have that bankroll, because every single car I suggested to him, I know he knows this, I wanted.
Yeah.
I want those cars, but, like, we're at different places in our life, and that's okay. It happens. But it says timing, like, I guess we'll close with this. Yeah. Timing's everything, because you don't necessarily have to buy, but if you're buying it because you love it, it'll, especially in the Porsche world, it'll eventually make money. Now, I'll say that with a caveat. Don't get crazy and be like, oh, I'm buying a 1998 base Boxster. It's got 175,000 miles on it, and, like, someday this car is going to be worth $50,000.
They've moved, but they haven't moved that much.
So use that lightly. With that, I'm out.
Bye. Enjoy.
See ya.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of PCAR Talk. Connect with us on Instagram at PCAR Talk or online at PCARTalk.com.